Howdy folks. Today I'm going to help you find Pokemon cards because I know they are really hard to come by. Quick note to all the kids right now, if you're having trouble finding Pokemon cards, I have left a little, message for your parents at the end, a small little speech that maybe you can show them and it'll help. I don't know how many kids are watching my channel, honestly. But right now we have a scalper's market. It's like influencers like Jake Paul and large PokeTubers that are really kind of changing the market in a way that's pretty negative for the regular old Joe. Anybody who isn't keeping on top of Pokemon news on the daily, which is difficult to do. Pokemon interest is sky high right now, and it's also the 25th anniversary of Pokemon, so we're having trouble. We're having a hard time getting our hands on product, and I'm here to help. So I'm going to try to give you a few places that you may not have thought of to go find Pokemon cards, and hopefully one of these will work for you. Now, number one, we've got your local game stores. Now, this is a kind of controversial topic right now. Local game stores can be great, and we do want to support those who are great and selling at MSRP. And MSRP is going to be the value at which the card store is still going to be making a profit. So they should be selling at that value. It is the recommended retail value so that they can still make a profit. And it's a reasonable price for the purchaser, the Pokemon fan, us. But a lot of local game stores right now, including the one that is closest to me, are charging way above MSRP at what they consider market value. Market value is kind of just taken out of nowhere. You can get that value online, whatever price things are selling for on eBay. However, with the scalpers that we've got running the market rampant right now, that is not fair to you, a regular Pokemon person, to be selling you products to. So, my local game store sells regular one booster pack for $5 or $6, I believe, which is fine, and we should be supporting these game stores because they are where Pokemon events happen. But if you were buying like 4 booster packs at $5 each, you're going to end up paying $20. And for those $20 on PokemonCenter.com, you would be getting 5 packs rather than the 4. So over time, that does add up if you are somebody who is buying lots of Pokemon cards, if you're a collector, if you're trying to create master lists, or if you're trying to actually play the game. It is difficult for you to keep up with that cost unless you're making some bucks, and a lot of people can justify the fact that there is that discrepancy, saying that they are supporting their local game store, and that's great. I would say that the MSRP value that you're getting from PokemonCenter.com is a reasonable price, and that is what you should be being charged, except for things like vintage product, of course. So things that aren't going to be sold by PokemonCenter.com anymore are vintage product, and there's smaller numbers of those things out in the world right now, so you are going to pay more for them. Each product is going to go up in price over time. However, new product you should be getting at MSRP, and you should not be really wavering from that by too much. Otherwise, your local game store is actually making too much of a profit on you. I will say, from local game stores, I have seen some say that they're charging just a little more. People that they're getting Pokemon cards from, like their distributors, are charging a little more, or their shipping's been a little more because they had to change distributors. And there have also been stores that say they are not making enough money because their distribution numbers have been too small. So a portion of their sales were expected to come from Pokemon cards, and they didn't get enough of those in store, so they need to charge more because they have less of them. I don't buy this, personally, but that is one of the arguments, and that is how you can justify it. That being said, there are a bunch of wonderful local game stores that you should frequent. Just go check them out, see their prices, talk to the people at the desk, see why their prices are what they are. If they're higher than MSRP, they should have a good reason. And if they don't, or if they use the words market value, I would not suggest shopping there. There are other alternatives further in this list, so wait. And while we're here at number 2, please go ahead and hit that little subscribe Pokeball that I made down there. I would love to help you find more Pokemon cards. This list is based solely in the real world and physical purchasing of things, but I am going to be making a list about online resources as well, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I want to help you get Pokemon cards. It makes me sad to see that anybody can't get their hands on them. Number 2, we've got Walmart. Now, I don't have one in my area, so I don't have the best handle on the Walmart situation. I do know that many of them are getting product right now that is either being held in locked cases somewhere in the electronics department, wherever they have those glass cases that they can lock up. You can find it in some of the kids sections, and then also, if you don't see any on the floor, go to your customer service. Go ask them if they have any Pokemon cards behind the counter that they're able to sell. Not ones that, like, people have already made pre-orders for or whatever they do online, but the ones that are behind the customer service counter are often there right now to just prevent theft. So you can go ahead and ask and see if they have those there. Also, Walmart does seem to get some exclusive sets, so for celebrations they got an exclusive tin, so that's something to keep an eye on. Target is the real winner here. At least in my area, I know a lot of people have been relying on Target. They are now selling Pokemon cards once again. I do know that they stopped selling them some point in 2020, I think, during the pandemic. They stopped selling them in stores because people were being awful, so don't do that. Don't be that guy, please. Don't be mean. There's no reason for it. They're doing their best. They are stocked pretty consistently from what I can see, and that is based solely on me going 2 to 3 times a day to my regular Target near my work. So we're not getting super regular restocks on like normal products. We're not seeing a lot of sleeves being put out consistently, but we are getting good drops at actual releases. So when celebrations happened, both of the releases actually happened. Like, on time, there was product. I managed to get myself a UPC from Target, and that was pure luck on my end for being there, because they only got one box, but it was there. So, just know that stocking does happen at random times throughout the day, because it is not a Target employee who is going to be stocking a majority of the product. It is going to be a representative from outside that comes and installs the Pokemon displays. Do not harass them. They're good people, nice people. Talk to them nicely, and they can be found in both the card section, where like all the gachapon type stuff and the sports cards are, or you may be able to find them in the toy section as well. I do check my Nintendo section around the Nintendo Switch very often, where they have stuffed animals and socks, and I've never seen them there, but every Target's different, so I would just go ahead and hang out at your normal Target, see what's there, and figure out their regular restock schedule. GameStop. I've heard some not great things from some people online saying that GameStop employees do hold product and purchase it for themselves instead of putting it out for people to buy. I don't know anything about that, but I did think it was worth mentioning because I genuinely do not know, but it has been part of the online zeitgeist of Pokemon right now. They are good for booster packs. If you need to get sleeved boosters as individuals, you can get the 3 latest new sets generally, and they do have great pre-orders online, especially if you are a GameStop Pro member, which I think costs about $15 a month now. I did get the Pro membership just for the release of Celebrations or Fusion Strike, I don't remember which, solely just for the Pokemon perks, because they did release one pre-order before everyone else. So consider that if you're really having trouble other places. I have not physically camped out at a GameStop in years, but it is a solid selection every time I'm in there. Sometimes they are behind the counter also, so go ahead and give a good scan. They might be on the wall back there, and if you don't see any in the store, go ahead and ask your cashier, your representative, and they may be able to find some for you. There may be some in the back as well. Best Buy is probably one of the most consistent people in this game. I have had a little trouble finding stuff actually physically in store. I would once again talk to your representatives, but they do have stuff online consistently, and like I said, I am making that online guide to the best resources, so go ahead and follow me there. Unless something has changed, Best Buy is going to be restocked first thing in the morning or at night when there is a truck that comes in by the Best Buy employees. That means it will follow a regular shipping schedule that they have rather than random times from the representatives. So you could probably get into a better flow as to what stock they're getting, what days of the week, if you check your local Best Buy pretty often, because it is the staff that's stocking it, and they do their restocks either late at night or early in the morning. I believe for the retail season, those restocks generally happen early in the morning, so your best bet is to go in first thing when Best Buy opens, which is pretty early, to see if they have anything in stock. Costco and Sam's, I put these kind of in the same box because they're these mega retailers that sell large amounts of things. You could get toilet paper and too much. Go ahead and check those out. You do need a membership to shop at either of those places. I do believe at Sam's, if you buy a gift card at customer service, you may be able to use that gift card then in the store. I don't know if you need to purchase it or somebody with a membership. Anyway, both of those places you do need a membership to shop there, or have somebody who has a membership go with you and they can make the purchase for you. They can't just let you in and then you make the purchase. They do check at the checkout counter. But these do get exclusive bundles. We saw one most recently with the Pokeballs and the Eevee tin, and lots of stuff comes in them. They're usually fairly priced. Not anything amazing, but they are different from what we're seeing other places, and that might be a place that you may be able to find some. I do know that they've stuck around a little longer than other products that I've seen, so go ahead and check both of those if you do have memberships. Now, this is the dark horse of the list, but apparently, and I didn't know this until pretty recently, but Barnes & Noble is a retailer of Pokemon cards, so I guess go to your Barnes & Noble. I wouldn't have expected the bookstore to be holding stuff, but they have gotten stuff for every major release that I've seen recently, and also, I don't know if they have like a weird stocking schedule that doesn't allow them to stock on the days of the actual release, but I have seen several people post that their Barnes & Noble has stuff on the floor before it's even like technically supposed to come out. So if you're looking for like fresh drops and things before they're technically supposed to come out, I would go ahead and check those out. And then we've got this long list of things that are kind of hit or miss. So Michael's Hobby, Burlington Coat Factory, TJ Maxx, Big Lots, Marshall's, Ross, Hot Topic, Cracker Barrel. These are all places that are not Pokemon retailers for whatever reason. Like, they don't have big displays and they're not where you would think of to get Pokemon product, but they do carry them. Some of them sometimes, some of them consistently. I know people are posting, they're finding Celebration stuff at Cracker Barrel right now, and that's bizarre to me. But you can also usually find older product that didn't sell somewhere on the shelves of places like TJ Maxx and Ross. I've never run into them in person, but I have definitely seen videos where people have found them there, and it's worth a look. Now this one, I don't know how I feel about this. So dollar stores, we've got Dollar Tree, Dollar General, Five Below, Family Dollar. You're not going to find Pokemon cards for $1 only at these retailers, usually. I know I've seen some people find them for just $1, which is bizarre, but usually they'll be close to retail price, if not at retail price, but you're able to find them. And it's usually vintage product that you're finding there, so finding vintage product at MSRP or even below it is wild, and that's a great place to look for things that should be pricier than they currently are. And finally, we have the pharmacies, so CVS, Rite Aid, Walgreens. My local Walgreens has been stocked pretty deeply recently, and that's been great. So beware third-party packs at these places. I know they like to sell them, the repackaged stuff. If you can see the back of a Pokemon card from inside of the pack, don't buy it. Please don't buy it. These are companies that have like taken their bulk and their low quality cards, stuffed them all in a package, charged you too much for them, and told you that there's a guaranteed foil in there, which is sometimes like a reverse holo or just a low value card. They are not worth it. I would say that the only ones that are worth it are the ones that have sealed packages inside of them. I do know the green and orange packages are really popular right now, and it's because you can possibly get something very vintage inside of them. I've seen some amazing pulls. I have had no such luck, but they are too expensive. They're $9 for one pack. Not worth it to me, but they do also carry regular Pokemon cards at all of these places in their original packaging, nothing messed with. So just make sure you know what you're buying and don't overpay for product. Do not buy third-party product unless you really have done your research and you know exactly what you want to be purchasing. And this little tidbit here on the end, I've got some miscellaneous stuff. So there are Pokemon vending machines, and they're only in a few states. I will link it below. Nowhere near me. I think there's maybe 3 states on the list. So if you're lucky enough to be in those 3 states, Pokemon vending machines are a thing. If you're not, just ignore this. You got gas stations. I know I've seen at least a pilot that has sold Pokemon cards. I've seen somebody buy an entire booster box out of a gas station before, so that's weird. And then yard sales and collectors conventions, those are things that you really gotta know what you're getting into to actually purchase from those, because there's often fake cards. They'll be selling base set boosters, and they're definitely not real. I don't want to say definitely, because I'm sure some people are just selling off their stuff, but in general, you do have to be very careful with those resources. The collectors conventions, if you're going to like a card collecting convention, you're probably in a good place, but there are, just like random collectors conventions where you've got like toy people and card people and movie people and all that stuff under one roof. You're going to get retailers there who also have fake cards, I guarantee it. So I would avoid those if at all possible, but they are fun to frequent, and if you can get cards cheap, even if they're fake cards, sometimes they're really funny to purchase. Okay, parent alert. Parent alert. If you're watching this, if your kid's showing you this, it's probably because they really, really want Pokemon cards, like in a deep way, and I get that. But I beg you to do your research. I'm here to help, but the internet is a very strong tool. Google has helped me with so many things, and I'm just trying to give you as much information as I can in this small bit of time and in this limited format, but it's difficult. It's difficult and it does take research, but if it's something your kid is really into, why not put in the effort, Scalpers are really doing a number on this market right now, and it does make it extremely difficult, but you shouldn't be paying too much for these. You should be paying MSRP, and we just need to be patient and get creative with where we're looking for Pokemon cards. And to the rest of you, I know this has been a real struggle. Like, I'm in it with you, but things are looking up. Celebrations was printed in a much larger quantity than we all anticipated. So many people got to get their hands on that big Pikachu figure, including me, and it was not anticipated that we were going to get so much product out there to so many people. Also, Shining Fates showed up on PokemonCenter.com recently, which means I think they're reprinting things more often to combat scalpers. I think that's what's going on. Pokemon Center is realizing what's going on. They know people are struggling, and it's really, truly a bunch of bots online. So to combat that, I do think that they're printing things so that we can all get our hands on stuff. So I hope some of that has helped you. Thanks for being here with me. I will put out that online resource list soon, and I hope you get your hands on some pre-orders, some Fusion Strike, get all the celebration cards that you wanted, and much more into the future. Hopefully I can cover some Pokemon news for you pretty often so that we can all get our hands on Pokemon cards. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. This has been Poké Oryx. I love y'all. Have a good night.